We may have had difference.
Slow it down. I sure that I live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time. God of the creation, the relations I've got, the only one that keeps me safe, the only one you should trust. For sure, it ain't right that I have checked the speck of dust from all of its sides. Fall down, that from my height, cause I didn't see the plank I have in my eye. You hear and you said when no one's to be found. What keeps you eased out? What takes you off your mind?
Yes, you want this, I want this. Everybody in this, we should have it. Stop illusions, it's in your hands. Show yourself, reveal it to them. Take the time to recognize it. You won't leave me even if I tried it. You're the artist, and the mass, and happily perform the new in your hands.
Big dog status, I'm a big dog vet. I pull up on the block in a big Corvette. Yeah, ride around the city with a stick all black. Try with a stroke, but we ain't with all that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Made $1 million and I can't go back. Got a lot of jewelry on me, man, you can't hold that. 12 asking better, tell him that I ain't so crack. Know your money long when your people can't afford that. I'm ballin', yeah. My mama told me that did my calling. I keep that stick, I don't do no brawling. Open out the doors and let them all in here. Yeah, they all in here. Ooh, big dog. We come out the pound, so we big dog. Heavy patty gun, they break my wrist off. I'm young out of rocket, about to lead dog. 3, 2, 1, I got big dog status, I'm a big dog vet.
What is up, entrepreneurs? Welcome to the Friday Live Helpcast with me, your hostess, the mostess, Diana Gladney. So pumped and excited to be here the day after my birthday. So shout out and happy birthday to me, another whirl around the sun. Okay, and usually what that means is another whirl around a local bookstore somewhere out here in these real and digital streets. Needless to say, I need bookstores to make a comeback. Okay, I need actual mom and pop shop bookstores to make a comeback, because Barnes & Noble, you're not doing it for me, okay? You should have never took over from, I'm not even gonna go on down the rant, but you know, they closed some of my favorite shops. So I'm just saying, like, we need some good bookstores. So let me know if y'all have some, okay? I'm honestly thinking about doing a tour, a creative tour. And of course, one of the first things I'm going to do, I need to see what the local bookstore action is looking like out here in these real digital streets. We got Instagram, we got LinkedIn, we got the fam over on YouTube. And unfortunately, LinkedIn, I don't see comments until after the fact when I go over to LinkedIn. So I apologize. Instagram fam, I see you. We're up, we're live. Good to see you. Carlos in the building. Faceless Wealthy Society in the building. Daily Weekly Cast, good to see you. Hey, Stephanie, live. And then we got Noel. Good to see you, Noel Ellington. Glad that you're here. And Sylvia Nixon, the incredible, the wonderful, the incomparable Sylvia Nixon over on Ingram Graham. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. And we got some folks over on IG. Alan, good to see you. Glad that you, or not IG, over on YouTube. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Sand First made it to the live show. I see. Told you, didn't have any issues with seeing your stuff. So hopefully there are no issues moving forward, but I'm glad you're here. Glad you made it. Mr. Camera Junkie, good to see you. Glad that you are here. Glad that you made it. Let's see who else we got in the build. IA. We got Tech for Your Needs. Good to see you. Glad that you are also here. Chat Night Africa. Good to see you. Glad that you are here as well. Greetings from Maryland to Lady D, the multimedia pope. Hilarious. Saying first question on the board, saying any camera and lens you recommend for documentaries, not those corporate media can afford. Not those that corporate media can afford. I'm guessing more so around those that corporate media actually can. So documentary type stuff is honestly more of my jam. And if I'm going camera, for a documentary style type thing, you got to look at what kind of documentary level type stuff are you getting into also, because you need to ask yourself, are we doing journalism, documentary style on the go journalism type stuff? Are we doing where it is more corporate like, or are we doing something to where it's a mix and it could be a hybrid where, for example, one of the gents I follow online, he did a short film on a MMA fighter. And so that was still more of a documentary style, following his journey of what he's doing, going to speak to his family, they're in his front yard and seeing his exhibitions and stuff like that. So it depends. For camera, well, first of all, it'll be easier to pair the lens first to see what lenses that we want to use, and then look at what camera bodies best serve that kind of a setup. So for camera bodies, no, not camera bodies, let's do lenses. Stick what I said. Let's do camera lenses first. If it's just you and you're doing it only with your own expertise, for me, I want to keep it lean and mean and something to where, number one, you're not having to put anything in the undercarriage for like TSA when you're going and you're flying and stuff like that. Definitely have TSA pre-check, global entry, hashtag all the things, if you're going overseas and whatnot. But I don't want to put any of my main stuff underneath. I don't care how much insurance or whatever, it's never going to clear in enough time for you to go do the shoot and all that stuff. So I want something that's going to fit in my backpack. For me, I'm going to be looking for lenses. Versatility, obviously a 24-70 would always be sweet. I can't see, unless you're doing something else, like where you know you're going out to the Serengetis of the world, then you would look at something more to like a 70-200 millimeter focal range. Ideally 24-70 is like, I want to look at a f2.8 lens, and then of course I want a prime. I'm going to go for the gold, and I'm going to pick that 85 millimeter lens. Obviously, being in the Sony realm of things, it's going to be Sony. They just came out with the new 85. That's great. I have used the Mark 1, but the Mark 2 is nice because it's that much lighter, and obviously the autofocusing motors are so much better. And so it definitely makes a difference. The camera body can be smart, but if the lens motors are slow, you're gonna think, oh, this camera, and it's like, it's not. It's the lens motors, depending on how old that setup is. So I'm gonna go 85 millimeter. I'm not gonna go anything cinema level style body like somebody over on Instagram saying a Canon C300. Never, absolutely never. Because number one, when action is happening, again, it's my personal perspective. Y'all can put whatever you think you might want to take, and that's fine. My personal perspective, camera wise, I'm never gonna take a C300, number one, because I'm not with the Canon crew any longer, but number two, I don't want to have to mail piece stuff together. If it's just me, I'm probably still going to go FX3. If for some reason the FX3 will not meet my needs of what I think I would do, it's still a small body, I would go FX6. And then I would do a build up that's still very modular to where everything is together. I don't have to piecemeal it together. But for me, I'm going to FX3 because number one, I want to be able to be lean and mean. The other thing with documentaries is you don't always want to be having like an FX6 cinema style level setup when you need permits all the time. And it's different if I could take my ZVE1, for example, anywhere, and they can think, oh, that's a white camera, that's pretty, that's cute. Have no idea what the internals is, unless they're a camera nerd. They have no idea. FX3 still kind of fits that bill, depending on how you rig it up or whatever, but I would go FX3 personally, unless there was some need where something is like, I'm thinking I'll be fine with the FX6, but I'm probably, knowing me, I would go FX3, got the built-in fan, flip out screen, all the ports and stuff along the side, already like a pre-built-in cage. So I can either go super minimal and be rocking with just the camera body, or I can build it out and rig it up if I need to. So of course, for me, it's gonna be the Sony FX3 in that kind of scenario environment, because even just plugging in my headphones and listening as we go in, shotgun mic or whatever, but we can also expand that rig. That's what I would probably do. 100% FX3, hands down. for that one. So good question. I'm getting the juices flowing out here in these real and digital streets. All right, just Tornado saying, all right, now this countdown jam got me rocking. See, that was the goal. Shout out to my video editor, Judd. I told him, I was like, we need to redo the countdown timer because I hadn't changed it for years. And then I'm like, okay, bring back the Helpcast, the Friday Live Helpcast. And I'm like, I need to have it like still have that same vibe where it's like, yeah, I'm ready for like, this is dope. See, so that's he hit the nail on the head. Yeah, hit the nail on the head. That's the right phrase of that. Alrighty, saying happy late birthday or happy birthday, Lady D. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Happy birthday from Alan Jones. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Mr. Luis Vega. Appreciate that, brother. Good to see. Glad that you all are here. Tech for you saying thank you. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. See, white. See, that's how you know a white chocolate, not even a white chocolate, just a white on white cake. I've changed my ways with my eating habits and such since last October, almost coming up on a year here. But I have not had white on white cake since. I couldn't eat it right now. It's way too much sugar. But if I was going to eat the only cake, hands down, white on white. No, none of that whipped cream frosting, none of that yellow cake, white icing, buttercream, all the way. No cookie cake. I remember the first time, side note, one of my best friends in school, her mom was taking her to get, it's for her birthday, right? And I'm thinking, oh, at least it's got to be like yellow cake or whatever. I always have like secret wants of like, I hope their favorite cake is something that's like close to mine. So then it's like a really enjoyable cake. It's super selfish, but I always have that. And I'm like, I hope you get a good cake. Man, it's like, oh, I want a cookie cake. A cookie cake? I'm like, and then it's a chocolate chip cookie cake. And I'm like, this is not real. This cannot, I'm like, you're gonna get a real cake though later. She's like, oh no, this is my cake. And I'm like, I need to take me to the cake shop so I can get a white on white slice real quick. I would always do that for somebody else's birthday. Got so bad, even when I worked at the bank, somebody else's birthday is here and they would come up to me and like, hey Diana, I got a cake for my birthday. Now I know it's not white on white and it's not your favorite, but it is yellow. And there's a part that's like, everybody knew. It's like, I'm very particular about my cake. Hilarious. All right. Let's see here. Coffee in hand. Let's roll for the next 4 hours. Absolutely not. That is not a birthday wish. That is a detriment to society right now. We're not doing no 4, 5, 3. We're not even touching 3 hours today. Okay. Once we hit an hour, I'm gonna look at the comments, see how many we got left, and then I'm gonna put a number on the clock and go from there. Kingdom 42 Logistics. Good to see you over on Instagram. Glad that you are here. What is up, Ravens Talk? Yolanda, good to see you out here in these real and digital streets. Let's see here. Saying thank you, Lady D. I took some notes. Now here's the kicker. You asked me what I would do. Try, like I always say, rent and try before you buy. Especially if it is something, because it's different making these much larger purchases. You're fighting a 30-day window, trying to sometimes make something work, and also wasting the time that you can't get back trying to put something together. Look at what you like to do. Some people have like our brother over on Instagram, he was saying that he would want a Canon C300. For some people, that is like, they know instantly, I'm going to cinema level, I'm doing this, I want a boom operator. Like they don't care how small of a package they want. Like they know for a fact that I want these things. For example, so look at what kind of a person you are, what kind of things would creatively annoy you, and then what kind of things would make life easier for you. If you've never done any of this stuff before, take your current camera out and go do something. Go do a short story on a family member. Go do a short story, or like literally create a short film, maybe make it 10 minutes or less, and tell a story around a thing that you are already around. You go to a local ministry, tell the story of a local pastor or somebody like I always find the most richest stories when you need to practice doing this stuff. Go find some of the oldest people in the building and just go spend some time with them. Number one, they're going to love that already because nobody spends times with our elders, which is like the ultimate disrespect in our community. I absolutely hate that in America. Go spend some time with the oldest person in the building and just sit and talk to them first, and then pick a story out of all of the many stories that they probably would have, and then just do a short film on that. Take your current gear and go practice, and then do it again. Go rent the gear that you think that you would take for this or that you would do for this, because sometimes you'll find like that's way too much gear. Or thing that got me when I was doing freelance videography work, pack that bag so heavy, it'll be so funny. I'm used to carrying this weight, so I'm just strong arming it, no problem. And so once it sits back in the airplane, like above you or whatever, because again, I'm not putting anything that I absolutely would need underneath. I don't care. I've heard horror stories, people with $40,000 worth of gear lost. Granted, it's insured, but that insurance process takes time. I'm not waiting on that, because your shoot, you've lost the trust with the client, you've lost your gear. Now you need to go see locally who all has whatever you need. And sometimes you're out in the boonies and there is no local camera store, or whoever can ship it to you the fastest with the fastest shipping, it still isn't fast enough. And so, put my bag overhead, get seated back there in the plane overhead. And so I'm getting ready to pull, and some man sees me because I'm short, okay, allegedly. And so I'm reaching up on my tippy toes, and they're like, "Oh, don't worry, ma'am, I'll get that for you." Big, muscle-bound men, grunting like, oh, like they got to put some effort into it to pull this bag down. And they're like, "What do you have in here?" And I'm like, I'm just out here weight training. And I joke, especially if they super muscular, because they would grunt. I'm not doing all that grunt when I get the bag. So, but you'll learn sometimes that's way too much gear. And it's like, okay, how can I condense all of this and maintain whatever your standard level of quality is that you want, and that you can actually do? If you're not experienced with using any of the profiles, HLG, S-Log3, S-Log2, whatever it is that you think that you want to replicate look-wise, go practice. But yeah, you'll also learn it's like, oh, this is too much gear, or this is not enough. But go and practice, and then you'll see what it feels like. Carry around that 50, 60-pound bag full to the brim, and see if you want to carry that all day for 6-7 hours straight doing a story or whatever. That's why I'm like, people be saying stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I did that. No, I'm good. Brave to Stalk Leon saying happy birthday, Dan. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Neil, good to see you saying happy birthday, Dan. I hope you're having a nice day. Indeed, I am. Good cup of Joe over here in these real and digital streets. Alrighty. Saying deflated cake equals a cookie. That cookie cake was the biggest disappointment. I'm not even kidding. When I hear it's somebody's birthday, I am so excited to see what kind of cake that they have. Like obviously I'm excited it's your birthday, but I'm like, I'm secretly looking like, what kind of a cake are you about to get? That cookie cake, I was just twisted the whole day. I'm like, happy birthday to you. I was just like, this sucks. I'm like, I'm like, tell your daddy to get you a real cake. Even chocolate. I'd settle for chocolate at this point. Tell your daddy to get you a real cake, because this is a terrible decision. Terrible decision. Carlos Phoenix over on Ingram Graham saying, we use Red for a documentary. I was lowering the cost with the Canon. Well, the thing is, in different use case, as well as like when you look at a Red camera, you're buying the box. Even when you get the C300, you're buying the box. Even when you get the FX6, you're buying the box. Yes, it comes with a monitor, but if you can't judge color accurateness, or depending on what you're trying to do, I love to watch people that do local news and like they're into freelance videography type stuff. I love to watch that kind of stuff. And you will see what the thought process and decision is. That's another something I recommend, Chat Night Africa, that you go and do. Go on YouTube and see who's doing the kind of work that you want to do at the level that you think you can do it at. So if they're solo and they're doing it solo, go see what they take. Go see because sometimes you can find cheat codes in the smallest things. They were like, oh, I used to take this, but I switched to this after I learned on this last shoot that you need whatever kind of stuff. So you'll see, just like people talk about was like, oh, the USB-C internal charging is unnecessary when you got whatever. or the battery life is so. And I'm like, yeah, but go be stuck in a building where you do not trust the AC power outlet and tell me that big dumb power bank that I invested in personally with the solar powered, so it recharges. And I'm like, now go tell me that 25,000 milliamp hour thing is a waste of money, because you know, like, well, who's going to use that? Go do some place where you don't trust the AC power outlet. And it's like, and you'll find those little bits and bobs. Or again, it's like, how much time do you have to set up? So for me, if I know I'm doing run and gun type stuff, I know a box camera type situation is not gonna work best for me. I don't want to play with it. I don't want to carry the weight either, even though they're smaller and they're like amazing. And then two, skill level. Unless we're hiring a professional colorist or you have those skill levels, what can you do with the image? Anybody can hit record in S-Log3 or in any log profile, but what can you do with that on the other end, and what is it actually gonna look like? Because some stuff you can't recreate again. Saying A to the men, amen, saying don't give me no mixed up cake. White on white. See, this is what I'm talking about. Layered properly. None of that red dye. I couldn't figure out why red icing tastes so disgusting as a kid, and I'm just like, everybody else is turning this stuff up, teeth changing colors. And I'm like, what is wrong with this? I'm like, you know what? Let's just keep my cake clean. And like, you can use something else mixed with white to kind of, I'm like, water that down. But I'm like, that is disgusting. Boomer Grown, good to see you. Glad that you're here. I love that name. Libohang Lahari, is that the right way to pronounce your name? Let me know. Saying hello from D, good to see you. Saying hello from South Africa. First time joining the live stream. Not the love streams, not that kind of stream. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. But let me know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And if I am, great. And if not, just tell me the right way so I can get that right. Fuller Brazil saying hello from Portugal. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Chat Night Africa asking, what factors determine how much you charge for documentaries? Skill is a big one. Number two, what's your day rate? Most freelance videography professionals have a base day rate. Regardless as to what it is, this is my base day rate. And then I don't like to nickel and dime people. Instead, what I used to do, because I don't do freelance videography work anymore. What I used to do is put together a package. You got your base rate of whatever it is to make the trip worth it, to get any things that you may need. Because sometimes, a lot of times actually, you're not buying every little thing that you need. A lot of times you're renting stuff. So you have your base package of whatever it is. So let's say you had an FX6, you have an FX3, you have an A7S3 or whatever, right? So you got cameras at different price levels based on stuff that you've done already. Okay, well, what package am I selling them? Am I selling them an A7S3 package? Am I selling them an FX3 package? Or am I selling them the FX6 package? Or are we mixing it together? And then I would put together a package so I'm not doing an itemized list of, well, I need 2 SD cards for this one camera, and they need to be V90 SD cards, and then we need this kind of SD card type A or type B, and I'm not nickel and diming people, and people hate that too, and it make negotiations terrible when just having a basic conversation. I would never have to sell hard. I never had to sell hard. My price was easy. I never had any kickback on my price either with people. And so even when I raised my prices, I raised my price like 3 times back to back. Nobody complained. So skill is going to have to be there, because they need to be able to look at your catalog, look at your quality of work, and say, I like that. I like the way that this is being done. Or I like what I'm seeing, or I've asked about you and I've gotten nothing but great referral information from whomever that they trust. And so now they have to see, do I trust you with this project? So the price, like I said, is usually your base rate, whatever that looks like, base day rate. And then you also need to look at, do you have a half day in there? Do you have a before day, kind of a prep day, kind of a something situation? And then look at what kind of package that is needed for that. Some people prefer to do the itemized thing where every little thing is listed out. I personally would never enjoy doing that. And so I did packages. And so when you look at who's your ideal target, I want to say audience, in this case, it's your ideal target client. Who's your ideal client here? and what kind of a stuff you're doing. So wedding filmmakers would have a different kind of a packaging than somebody that's used to doing documentary journalism type stuff or corporate documentaries. It's a very different, mindset of what the expectation is and how many hours are you looking, not just with talent hours, but without talent hours, travel time, stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff that I would look into. And then I would look at creating a package. And then if you needed to add on things for a rental to get something that makes sense for that project, then also making sure that it makes sense. And then at the end, you have a profit on the other side of that. That was my preference when doing that. And you just want to make it easy for people to say yes, be pleased with the product, more than pleased with what they get on the other side. The experience is nice and like you're easy to work with. They love working with you. And then you're not fighting to get a bajillion clients because you got a lot of repeat clients. And so then you get people on retainers if you like doing retainer work type stuff. So it's like what factors determine what you charge for like a documentary? It just depends. But a lot of that too, you can set whatever price you want. But could they look at that price tag and then look at your work and say, is it worth it? It shouldn't be a discrepancy. Because sometimes people are like, I don't think that that's worth that. Something's already off somewhere, right? So make sure it actually makes sense and that it's in alignment. I didn't do deals. I didn't do discounts because you can't discount your work in that sense or whatever, but make the package overall worth it for what you're trying to do and make it easy for somebody to do business with you. So it goes obviously much deeper, but like I said, I'm not in freelance videography work anymore, but that is what I used to do. Fuller Brazil is saying, I already have the ZV-10, I'm guessing that's the Mark I and the A7 IV. I like to exchange my ZV-10 for a better video camera. I'm thinking of an FX30 or a ZV-E1. What would you suggest? Depends on what you're doing. So you got one content creator centric style camera, and then you have one hybrid based camera in the A7 IV. When you upgrade that ZV-E10, you're going to be looking to get into the new camera menu. If you go FX30, nothing wrong with any of these cameras, by the way. If you go FX30 though, you're looking into a different type of menu system. You're looking into different type of language. If you're trying to do filmmaker-y type stuff, then that makes sense. Get the stuff that is more in alignment with the profession of the work that you're trying to do. However, if it's not, and you're saying you're trying to look at something like a ZV-E1, that's more of a big brother, big sister to the ZV-E10 already. I don't know if you're also trying to stay APS-C or full frame. Like it's a lot of variables there that's not answered. So just picking off of spec sheets type stuff that don't quite make sense for me right now. So you're gonna have to tell me like what's the intended use case, what you're trying to do, from what you already have to what you're trying to move forward into, and then that decision is determined by that. If you're trying to stay creator based or whatever, ZV-1, fine. But if you're going more filmmaker-y type stuff, and you want one filmmaker style body and one hybrid body so you can take photos or whatever, type something with a larger megapixel sensor, hinting to the A7 IV there, then that makes sense in that type of scenario. But it depends on what the combo is and why. Question saying, down the road, Q2 2025, thinking of going into a DSLR. I keep seeing posts on overheating. Is this a common DSLR issue when live streaming or not a major factor to consider? So DSLRs is not so how can I start this off? DSLRs are not what's actually being used any longer. What we are talking about, where's the camera? Over there on the desk, too far. And so what we are talking about cameras wise is the mirrorless. They don't have the mirror box to where it flips up and you hear that large chunk or whatever. Mirrorless cameras, historically, being if it's a smaller camera body, older or whatever, you gotta figure out what the quirk is of it, the specific model or whatever. Is overheating an issue? Depends on what you're doing. 9 times out of 10 for most of my use cases with my ZV-E1, there is no fan, because if I'm going and out and making a video, if I'm in here making a video or sitting back there or whatever, I'm not putting a fan on the camera body. The only time that there is a fan on the camera, just because of one, the time frame and how long I'm streaming for, and number two, the level of heat being produced by the camera and it needing airflow. Only time there's a fan is, like I told you about my camera airboats thing that I made, is when it's sitting up here for this kind of stuff, because we're doing 5 hours. Have I got like 5, 6, 7 hours or whatever on the camera without a fan on it? Same settings and stuff? Yes. But the camera, at these point, when you put a whole lot into these small camera bodies, it cannot breathe. There is no airflow. They're not adding the mechanics and all the stuff that it would take to dissipate the heat, which is why camera fans are like a $20, $30 investment just to resolve that. So if you do decide that you want a camera body that is going to have some kind of an issue, most of them, I have the most probably notorious camera body, having the ZVE1, where everybody's like, oh, you can't even scroll the menu and it just would turn off. Over exaggerated. Let's just be honest. A lot of people, when the camera first came out, just wanted the views. They wanted the views, they want the attention, they want the whatever, and then you're gonna flip the audience to whatever it is that you usually talk about. That's all that is. So if anybody jumps on the hype train when something comes out, not a camera coming out, but like something's wrong with it or whatever, and you saw a bunch of the conversations around, oh, it overheats. Okay, it's probably some level of truth to that, but I was not willing to trust anybody's opinion on it. So I spent my own money to get the camera and put it to use, and that was the only camera that I used for a year. It's like 12, 13 something months or whatever. It's the only camera that I use. I'm like, I need to see what it's really like owning this camera if this was your only camera. And I'm putting my money back of that versus opinions online or whatever. Will it overheat? Can you get it to overheat? Absolutely. But you know when the camera recently overheated or the sign popped up or whatever, when it was 100 bajillion daggone degrees outside, and I'm not over exaggerating. We're in a heat wave warning currently right now in St. Louis, and I was outside in the middle of a park. I'm sweating bullets. I have the Whitney Houston lip sweat. My shirt is drenched. Beautiful golden hour, but it's still hot as hell. It's humid as hell. So 45 minutes later, the camera being on 4K 10-bit or whatever, it's like, yeah, so we're hot. You're hot. How about we leave? I'm like, I agree. Let's go. So that's when it overheated. I've had it and done incredible tests with this camera. It's like, so can you get it to overheat? Absolutely. But most of the time, if you're going to be doing 4K 10-bit long-term, whatever recording, podcast type stuff like this, what I would qualify as a category of like a podcast type scenario. If I'm going to do something like that, just put a camera fan on it and be done with it. It literally is just that simple. Otherwise, your regular contents and stuff, it's not needed. When I'm recording stuff back there, I will drain the battery. Never see the overheating once. Still doing 4K 10-bit, still doing 20, 30, 40-minute recording segments before I'm actually done, because I try not to hit the stop button. I wish we had a pause button instead, but I try not to hit stop when I start recording a video. I just want the full video, one file, as best as I can. Do the B-roll, everything. Do a full recording shoot day. No issues, no overheating. And like I said, I probably have one of the most notorious ones for that. So unless you're in a scenario where it's hot already, like hot as hell, like I said, when it's like 100 degrees outside, you're in the sun, it's hot, you're hot, use the camera fan. If you're not going to be in those scenarios, it's going to be indoors, but you do want to do the best that the camera can do, just get a camera fan and be done with it. Honestly, it's literally just that simple. Shout out to Kimbucha. $5 super chat saying in my Stevie Wonder voice, happy birthday to you. Appreciate that, Kimbucha. Much appreciated. So yeah, just Tornado, that's what I would suggest. Live streaming, yeah, put a camera fan on. Otherwise, content creation style, not needed. I vlog with this camera, don't need a, and still doing 4K. I don't always do 10-bit because, for what? You know, let's see, regular content, yeah, that's in 10-bit. We've been doing 10-bit for a year, or more than a year now. So we've been doing 10-bit. If I'm doing this kind of stuff, live streaming, yes, I'm going to do a camera fan. Am I doing it for my podcast? If my podcast is already up here, it's already in the mount setup or whatever, so the fan is on regardless. So yes. Otherwise, no. Like, I filmed my talk this year at Social Media Marketing World. The camera didn't turn off. My friend went and turned the camera off, and that was I think we did like 45 minutes straight. My other friend, Jessica Stansberry, she did hers. She has a white chocolate edition Sony ZV-E1. No issue. Yeah, will it get warm? Yeah. Did it turn off? No. So that's the only thing there. Libohang, think that's correct. Let me know. Saying, need advice as a freelance event videographer, in English, event videographer. I want to upgrade gear, but I'm not sure which to prioritize. I need a gimbal, but also need a zoom lens, as I'm using a prime lens currently. Same price. What's the question? You want to upgrade the gear, but you're having issues prioritizing. Again, what's the true need? And then when I'm looking at something, if I'm going back to my videography days or whatever, or let's say I was going to continue them today. If I'm looking at making a decision financially, am I losing work because of this? Because I don't have this thing? Am I losing work for that reason? If I'm not losing work because of it, are my clients asking for it or would like to have it? Obviously, if you ask a client anything, hey, you want some drone footage? Hey, you want some whatever? They probably gonna say yes. But are they asking, like, this is what, when they come to you initially, or when they filling out your contact form on the website or whatever, are they saying, like, these are the things that we need for this project, or these are the things that we want for this project? So are you having to rent that gear regularly and frequently in order for you to do your work currently? If the answer is no, I'm not losing work, and no, I'm not having to rent and not even spend money, but invest the money towards when I do need it for projects, like how often? If it's only twice a year, that's an easy expense that more than likely pays for itself in the package of what the work is already. So if I'm only renting a gimbal twice a year, am I going to buy and own a gimbal? It depends on the price of a rental for a gimbal. Let's say it's like $40 for the days I need it, $40, $60, maybe 80 at the most. So $160 a year. At that point, it's like, am I going to continue doing stuff to where I would need a gimbal? Then over time, it's like past that first year, maybe just to see how you like it, what you need or whatever, or trying different ones. Then I probably rent it, and then I'm gonna buy the one that I want, because gimbals are super cheap these days, super duper cheap. So that one back there is the Cinepeer 3E or whatever. I did a video when that one first came out. Super light, super small payload, it can hold a super heavy setup. But if I'm not doing gimbal work that often, then that's just more of a probably I want to have it, but I don't necessarily need it. Now, when you look at the lens, choosing on whether or not I need to get this lens over this gimbal, okay, well, I'm going to easily prioritize how much time-wise, because if I start a project, I'm going to track my time. Personally, right now I'm tracking my time. I'm doing the Friday Live Helpcast. Before, I'm like, oh, I'm preparing for the whatever, and I'm like, oh, I'm replying to emails. I'm tracking how much time I'm doing what, because otherwise your assumption in your mind of how long it takes is off. So if I look at how much time just in your memory, how often are my clients having to wait because I need to switch lenses because I only have primes? So now I'm looking at my client experience. Like, it's more frustrating and like, oh, hold on one second. Oh, hold on one second. How often am I having to tell them to wait for me to switch lenses? And then like, oh, this lens is f2.8, and then this one's at f1.8, and then I need to redo the exposure. Like, how long are they having to wait for something simple like that a zoom lens could fix? Simply off client experience, I'm going to pick the zoom lens. You know what I'm saying? So because it's a better experience for the client, which means you overall get probably better rating, reviews, and their remembrance of how easy it was to work with you. And so even though I'm not losing any money, even though I'm not spending any money, stuff like that is not the things that you would hear about probably one-to-one if you ask for a written review of your work, of the project or whatever. Or if somebody's talking to their friend, like, hey, you work with such and such, how did you like it? It's like, it was cool, but you know, we had to keep waiting because like they needed to keep switching lenses all the time or whatever. It's like the work was excellent, but it's just like we just kept having to wait all the time. They would never tell you that. But if they're going to tell somebody else, like their friends, that they would just be level with on that, that's the kind of stuff that I'm thinking about. I don't want them to have to wait. I don't want them to have issues with, you know, those kinds of things. So as far as like which to prioritize, either it's looking at what is costing you or what's earning you money, or you're looking at potentially like what's a better experience for the client type of a thing, you know. So that's the kind of stuff I would take into consideration. Saying I see said Ray, know what you mean there, saying, but remembering that old perclunk, okay, of my mirrorless of my old Olympus helps me to understand your response even better. Okay, like from the mirrorless to a mirrorless to DSLR. Okay, comment saying I keep the heat in mind since Texas is 5,999.5 degrees for 6 months. Okay, so being in a hotter climate, I'm not going to probably, I would probably say save the extra depending on what you want, but there's always a option with any camera brand of which one don't have any issues like that for real, right? So most mirrorless hybrid bodies don't have that issue for the most part, most of them, because they're bigger bodies. They have the heat sink and all the extra components on the inside, or they just have a built-in fan, or what have you. So that's the thing I would look at. The only reason like it's a thing now is because all the specs and the stuff that we've asked for over the years, they're adding it, but they're like, we told y'all that body is not really built for that, but y'all keep begging us for it, so here, now you deal with it until we figure out how to deal with that on the other side of things. Technically, I'll take that. I'll take that 9 times over 10, because the ZV-1's been a fantastic, absolutely fantastic camera for me. If I'm in Texas though, I'm living a hell hot heat type weather 6 months out the year, the camera fan is probably just going to stay on the camera. It's just probably going to stay. Or even better, I do you one better. This is if I'm in your scenario, I'm in Texas, I'm living the hell hot heat environment weather. What I would do is, I talked about this before, but it is called the it's like Caleb Pike's, his foundry thing, whatever you call it. Okay, let me try to think of what it is. I'm googling Caleb Pike foundry. He makes these kinds of cages or cinema style types rigs or whatever. It's called the Cineback. That's what it's called. It's called the Cineback. And what he does, let us go and share. Hold on. Let me see what I want to do or how I want to share this exactly. But he does the Cineback. That looks dope. And that is probably what I would more than likely do for that type of scenario. Let's go. Trying to see what scene I want to use in Ecamm since we changed it the last time we were live. So I need to change it back real quick. Wasn't expecting to have to screen share anything. I didn't think nobody was gonna ask anything, so like we didn't have it. So let's go here. All right, so this is it. This is the Cineback. And so it's not just for FX3, FX30, he's making them for all kinds of cameras. And so because of that, he's doing a fantastic job. So the Cineback is a really dope thing. So like he got it for the Canon R5C, has it for the A7 series of cameras. And then there is one that he built that's just kind of generic. The R5C just recently came out. But essentially, like, so the original one that he did had, it's just like it's a fan module on there for the original one that he did. So ZV-1 was supposed to come out this month, but it did not. A6700, it did not. But this is the original one that came out for the A7C. And so basically you can 3D print these if you want to, but you would need to buy some components. And so it had the fan in there already, and then the V-mount on the back, which is, these are components you can buy and set up or whatever. But at the end of the day, this is the kind of shot that it looks like. And then you need the camera cage. But you can do something like that if you want to, and that's more of a generic type of framing and setup and whatnot. Just depends on what camera that you get. But that it has the fan built in and some other stuff. But this was the initial concept for this, so that's pretty cool. So that's what I would probably be looking into, something more like that. But again, this was the initial thought process when I went into. I was like, yeah, I don't need all of that, but I was like, I do want something for, that fits my needs. I was like, I don't want to put the cage on my camera because that makes the camera heavy unnecessarily. I was like, I don't want to live that way. And I'm like, okay, just need to fit my stuff, things that I want. And so I built my little camera airboat. But that's probably what to do. Other than that, if you don't want to go that far, camera fan. Put a camera fan on it and be done with it. If you have a camera that has overheating issues or concerns and whatnots. Howdy y'all, official Keith in Texas. Good to see you, glad that you are here. Dinesh over on Instagram saying, hey, good to see you, glad that you're here. Carlos saying, cake shaming, not you. Yeah, definitely cake shaming. I'm not gonna lie, still do it to this day. Somebody says that it's their birthday and I'm like, and what kind of cake are you getting? And they're like, oh, I'm getting a chocolate cake. Stop right there. Allow me to introduce you into the wonderful bliss that is just a wonderful, beautiful white cake. Great, no weird flavorings, with the just good white icing. Put whatever color you want for your name, because it's a thing. People like to eat their name. You can't cut their name, so you can't do that. So you get whatever you want for that one, but the rest of it, let it be, and they're like, oh, I'm using whipped cream icing. Hold the phone. You need to use buttercream, okay? Shoot. Then these rental companies need to get on and sponsor you and offer up a Gladney Deluxe rental package for you, helping to knock the dust off their servers. I'm just saying. You know what? It's like it was a long time ago. Golly, now it's been. What has happened? This would have been before the pandemic. Used to do some small stuff with lens rentals or whatever, just to see how it would work. And it's like that didn't continue. But I don't know, we'll see. When it comes to like sponsored stuff, I do question, like if I want to ever, and then if I did, like what kind of companies would I work with? Lens rentals would definitely be a natural one, because that's where I recommend people get their rentals from anyway. Because the basic user experience, if you're not a online personality or whatever, and it's just like the way they treated their clients, which is how my experience was. Channel was not as big or anything like that. Didn't say I had a channel. I just came as a regular customer, and I needed 2 packages back to back, and so I wind up ordering them within a day of each other. They called and they was like, hey, we could save you some money on your rental, still get both of them out to you when you want. If like we can consolidate that for you, do you want to do that? And I was like, yeah, I appreciate that. And they was like, yeah, we'll take off that amount, and it's like we can put it as a credit towards you or refund it back to you or whatever. It's like, but that way you get everything together instead of 2 separate packages, and then we'll save you some money on the rental or whatever. They called me, they initiated, and it's been so many other little instances like that with them, where they've just been like such a dope company to work with. So I started using them and haven't used anybody else since. So lens rentals would be a natural one. We already do stuff with Ecamm live occasionally. Some of the major ones you usually see with other like tech brands, it's either where you want the brand deals to be in alignment with the kind of stuff you talk about on the channel, or you just kind of go wide and it's like, this video is brought to you by Foot Toe Jam. At foottoejam.com, if you go, you get a deal on socks, and it's like, all right, but it's like sometimes you want the random brand deal thing that's like whatever's mentioned on a podcast. So it's like, yeah, brought to you by Clean Toenails. It's like Clean Toenails, the only brand that you need for a number, and you be sitting there like, what? And so it's like, I've gotten plenty of offers But I'm also like, I don't like being beholden to, like, number one, it needs to be a brand I trust. It needs to be a brand that if I didn't have a brand deal with them, I would want to do business with them. And it needs to make sense. So that's my only thing. It's like, I think ultimately, I don't know. I think ultimately though, I would, as best as I could, I would want to stay away from the random brands or whatever. It's like, this is brought to you by Non-Stink Deodorant. Go to nonstinkdeodorant.com. It's like, I don't want to do those. But also, bills got to get paid. So, you know, it's like, I wonder, I've had that question even like up to yesterday. I was just thinking like, what do I want to do in this next year of content? I'm like, am I taking the weird brand deal, you know, payouts for stuff, or do I want to keep it more aligned to whatever? I was like, ultimately, I think I will still want to just self-fund the channel myself and let me choose what I want to do instead of being like stuck having to put the videos out at the end of the month, because it's, you know, it's like having to do, I don't know. It's a weird thing, but something for, you know, brand deal that makes sense. I can see that. I said I can see like Ray Charles. Okay. That flew over my head earlier, just Tornado. So I added the Cine back to my Notion log for is this new camera a need or a want? An ongoing list of pros and cons. I mean, honestly, picking a camera out is much easier than it feels online. The reason why picking a camera and the right camera for you out online is so difficult is because mixed into the reviews is our own genuine excitement around what we use, what we have, and what we try and what we like. So for me, I am a super like excited, happy person to talk about the Sony ZV-E1, and nothing else matters for me because it is the best camera for me. It is my favorite camera to use. I don't like when people ask and they'll post comments even still, if you had to choose between the Sony ZV-E1 and the a6700, which would you choose? I'm like, I've already made that decision. All those cameras are out. I'm not switching to none of them. Like, I tried the a6700, had it in the office for, I think, about a month, made content with it. And every time I picked it up, I was just like, I don't want to use this. I want to use my ZV-E1. And every time I tried it, I was just like, this is great and this is nice and it's very close to the ZV-E1, but it's still not a ZV-E1. I just want what I already have. Like, nobody has like made me want to be, you know. So the only thing that you have to look at is like, what would make you happy, not what's making somebody else happy. But you buy into our excitement and how excited we are when we are using something, which is genuine, but it's because it ticks off the boxes for us. So when people say they hate the ZV line of cameras, that's because they usually have a preference around their kind of stuff. If like, there are people that only want FX3 type cameras to exist. There are those that only want hybrid A7 IV, A7S3, A7R style cameras to exist. Like, they want them to only focus on those. There are those that only want them to focus on photography, take all of the video stuff out and just focus on photography and the camera and stop with all the video content creation stuff. There are those kind of people that want, like, you know what I'm saying? And so the camera that's perfect for them is not specific to, you know, any video things. So you have to look at, what do I want? What are the things that would probably annoy me and get on my nerves? What are the things that would make me happy? And for me, trying the ZV-1 let me instantly know the ZV line of cameras is for me. So when the ZV-E10 was going to come out, I was gushing. I was like, this is going to be the go-to camera for me. And it was. Loved it. Switched from that, put my a6400 down, other than for live streaming. Put my a6600 down to the point that I just went ahead and got rid of it. I'm like, I don't even like, no, I'm good. Like, the ZV line of cameras is perfect for me for the kind of stuff that I want to make. It has all the little intricacies and they're thinking about things that's more specific to the kind of stuff I want to, you know, do. And from the in front of the camera perspective, it's different when you're always behind the camera, because then you're looking for the extra buttons, all the dials, all the blah, 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 blah. I don't care about none of that. Don't need no whole bunch of extra buttons. All that is extra weight that I don't want to carry on my bag when I'm going out for the day. And so that's the kind of stuff. It's like, when you're picking out what is going to be the best camera for you, got to put a little bit aside of how excited or cool or great, because if you look at any release video for any camera, this is the best camera released for such and such by Sony. This is the best, and this is the brand new such and such that's released by such and such, and this is the best camera on the market. They were all the best because they're all great. But why would it be great for you is not, you know what I'm saying, why they say watch for this or whatever. So when I come at stuff, I come at it simply from the perspective of you're mostly in front of the camera, not behind it. You're mostly looking at, like, again, my perspective, I'm looking at this from a content creation aspect. This camera serves a purpose for me to make content for my business, to earn money for the business, not to become a filmmaker, not to be a videographer, not to do, you know what I'm saying, like get into a film festival. That's the kind of stuff that I'm coming at, because you're making money with the camera. The camera is not the reason for why you earn money. You know what I'm saying? The camera is helping your visibility, period. So it's different when you're looking at the different verticals of why somebody would use it. So when you putting together your list, don't overdo it, but just log off and see why you care about the camera. Why do you like it? What are the things that checks the boxes for you, and what would make you happy? Honestly, that's the big, like, so when I heard it, like, think about it. Nobody was recommending the ZV-E1. Hardly nobody. It was a couple creators, but nobody's recommended it. I don't care what none of them said, because I'm like, I see all the stuff that checks all the boxes that I want. I was like, I'm gonna have to figure out what's up with the overheating on my own, but I'm not listening to y'all, because I know the difference. Like, I know what it's like to know what your preference is and where it misses for that preferential use, but I don't have those preferences. I don't have that use case, nor am I going down that road or route at some point. I'm over here. And so I'm not looking to make a video for the views and get on the hype train for the next 30 days. And then you would never see me actually use or buy that camera. You know what I'm saying? Kind of a deal. I'm like, no, that's a camera I would actually buy. I was like, matter of fact, this is the camera that's gonna make me flip to full frame. And then I did it, put my money where my mouth was. And so, so when you look at it from that perspective, when you're choosing a camera for yourself, just log off for a bit and just look at, what am I gonna do in the next year that I would actually do? I wanna go hiking, I wanna go camping, I wanna do night astrophotography. I went out day before yesterday. These are all things that are on my big things to do in the next 12 to 18 months. I'm like, oh man, I want to go camping. I want to go hiking. I'm trying to convince my friends. I'm like, y'all, don't y'all want to go? And they be like, hell no, we don't. I'm like, don't y'all want to I don't stay out. And they be like, why would we do that? It's a hotel. And I'm like, no, man, I need to find my adventurous friends. Okay, or make some adventurous friends. Because these are all the things that I want to do. But then I also am looking at what I realistically did in these last 12 months. And what I realistically will do, I'm trying to realistically hit them goals in the next 12 to 18 months. But realistically, in these last 12 to 18 months, when I look at the temperature, I say, yeah, it's a good day to make a podcast, this batch record podcast today. And I'm like, oh, temperature's 99.9 thousand. I'm like, all right, it's a good day to do some shorts today. And, and then I go outside, which y'all will see this video, because I did a Q&A video where I'm out creating at a park. The first day I tried it, the cicadas were so loud, it was screaming. I sent it to my friends. They was like, hey, how'd your video go? And I'm like, the cicadas were so loud, you could not even hear me talking on the camera. You couldn't even hear me talking. They were so loud. So that was a bust. And it was 1,000 degrees out. And the camera was after 45 minutes, you're sweating, I'm sweating. How about we just leave? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And so, and then the second day I went to go do this video, I'm like, okay, try this again. It was still a hell hot heat. Humidity was on 1,000. When I tell you, my face was drenched with sweat, and I had a paper towel in my pocket, just a little napkin. I was in the car, and I was just trying to dab the sweat. And then I watched the clip back after I finally got through it, and I'm just some mosquitoes. And I'm like, oh, what is this? I'm not an outside person. I'm trying to become one, but I'm not an outside person already. And I'm just like, get off of me, get off of me. And so the flies, the gnats, mosquitoes, okay? And then you see little hints of brown paper towel on my face that I did not know was there. The video is going to go live when it's done editing. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm finding my feet outside. Okay, I'm finding my feet for becoming the outdoor person that I want to be. But have I done that realistically, like in the last 12 to 18 months, like I imagine that I want to do? Hell no. So when you make your list of the stuff you're going to actually do, be realistic. What would you actually do? So I'm taking a more concerted effort in these next 12 to 18 months to start my adventure lifestyle type stuff. I'm just gonna have to get used to the outside. I'm just not an outside kind of a person. But shoot. But it's like realistically, I make these podcasts, I'm gonna make some shorts, I'm gonna make content indoors, I'm gonna vlog, I'm gonna travel, and occasionally it's like I'm gonna do videos outside or whatever. I'll have some small projects on the side and stuff that I do that is not things that I would do on the channel or whatever, published on the channel, but there are things that I would do to get experience with the camera or test different modes out or whatever. So be realistic with what you actually would do. What's the 99% of the things you're gonna do most of the year? And then what are those, it's like, I said 99%, but it's like, what are the things like 90% of the time, 95%? And then what are the things that are like 5 to 10% of the time that it would be different, but you would do it kind of a thing. So I'm serious. I really want to get into astrophotography, not astrophotography, but well, I guess it would be astrophotography, but I do want to do like some video. I want to see the Northern Lights. Like I have some like outdoor adventurous type stuff that I want to do. But I'm also like, we don't really like cold like that. We don't really like extreme heat like that. I'm just gonna have to build those muscles up. Okay. But just really look at what would you actually do. Just when I was saying, what is the purpose of a dummy battery? So, and is it needed? Not all the time, if it's just a solo podcast, if your podcasts are like 20, 30 minutes, you'll be fine on a battery. You also have most cameras that have USB-C charging in them as well. Not a big deal. You also have a great battery life on most cameras. Not a big deal. It's more or less, are you going to go past whatever that range is? That's the only thing that you got to kind of be concerned with and look at as far as that's concerned. Like, what is a dummy battery? It's a dumb battery that is like, it doesn't have the internals, it's hollow. So when you put it inside the camera, it has a cable attached so that you can plug that into, whether that be a battery bank. Some of them can go into a USB battery bank, so that you're not taking up the USB-C port or one of the other ports for something else. The use case for this is, I prefer this, 100% prefer this over USB-C charging the camera or trying to keep that battery alive in the camera, because I don't worry about battery life anymore. I 100% am only doing just whatever I'm doing. Like I don't have to worry about the battery life at all, ever. It's plugged into the wall, period. So when I do these, dummy battery. So it's a battery that is in the camera. It's hollow essentially, other than enough for the wiring to get to the top. There's a cable coming out, which is why on any of your cameras, the battery door has a secondary door attached to it that would flap open so that that cable can hang out. So your cameras are built to use the AC power. Some people don't like it, like my brother Doc Rock. Doc, I don't know why Doc hates these or whatever, but he don't like them. I don't care what Doc likes. Like, I'm like, no. Because that's one thing where we are opposites on, as far as that goes. He likes the USB-C charging or whatever. No, it's built for the AC power adapter. The one I use for the FZ100 batteries is by SmallRig. So that's what I use. But that's what the purpose is. Unlimited battery life, and you don't have to worry about the battery life, period. As Kombucha put by. Saying, brought to you by Shein. Grab your Shein. Exactly. It'd be random, just random stuff. They'd be like, brought to you by this nail polish company. It's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not right now. If you see it on the channel, I changed my mind. But I was like, not right now. Good morning on this blessed white chocolate Friday, everyone. Good to see you. JFK Productions, glad that you are here. Saying, I only want flip up screens on camera. See, I used to be team flip up because that's all we had. And so it's benefits to it, but it also blocks the mic when you're vlogging. And then when you are on the side of the cameras here, so documentary, whatever types of scenario, or you're just doing like an interview, the camera body is here, I can at least flip the screen out to the side and I can see it. And so for me, I was like, with a tilty flippy uppy screen, bah humbug, not my cup of tea any longer. So one of my friends has an FX3 and took a good look at it and thought, saying, bro, that ain't it for me. Nice quality, but too many complexities. See, it's like it's, you find out what the vein or lane rather, a lane of cameras that you prefer. And then it's like, you kind of just stick with it. Occasionally you'll get those surprises. Like I thought when the A7S III came out, that would be the camera I had to get. It definitely was a camera I wanted to get. If any camera I was like thirsting after was the A1. It has an HDMI. It has a full-size HDMI port. It has an Ethernet port on it. Just for like next level camera stuff, an Ethernet port. The A1 had an Ethernet port. I lost my mind when I saw it had it has an Ethernet port. I'm like, streaming could go to a whole other level. We don't even need cam links. We got a cam link in the camera. We just, like I was losing it. And so otherwise though, I'm like that. The only camera that's close to what I want is gonna be the Sony A7S III. And then it's like I could use the ZV-E10 or whatever, but I did not want to get that camera. I was like, I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and see what come out. And then next thing you know, the ZV line of cameras started to mature. Then they came out with the A6700 later, FX30 later. And I'm just like, I still don't trust. APS-C is probably not gonna get too many lenses, native lenses like that. We got more, it's great, it's fantastic. But I'm just like, I think I'd be happier with going the full frame ZV route and just went that route. So everybody got quirks and such. Saying, Lady D, which mic would you recommend on the ZV-E10 for on-site live stream? Audio is interesting because while audio can be forgiving, it can also put the attachment on top for you to be able to do like the non-wired audio. Where I'm putting the attachment on there is going through the hot shoe. Those things are fantastic in a way I can't quite explain fully, but it is a fantastic experience, and it's so beyond not just having to worry about the cable. But if I'm doing a shotgun microphone, you don't need the hot shoe for anything else kind of a deal. It's just the camera, just the mic. Those would be great. Otherwise, I've used the same, like and then too, are we talking vlogging? Are we talking, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you said for live streaming, though, mics it just depends. I don't even have a favorite per se, or a favorite recommendation per se. Like I like the Shure SM7B because I like how it sounds with my voice. But I loved prior to that for years and used the Samson Q2U. So this was the mic that I'm like, I'm gonna buy it, and that will be my last microphone that I buy for podcasting or whatever, because this is like that legendary mic I would never have to upgrade from. So I just started making those decisions on things I don't need to upgrade from it later. So that was this microphone. This is overkill for a lot of people. I think the Rode Pod mics are a fantastic microphone. If I'm just doing like a podcast setup and it's not for me, but it's like all the other microphones, I'm gonna do Rode Pod mics. 100%. Love the way they look. They look great. Audio quality is amazing. And then you also have USB-C connectivity as well as XLR connectivity. So I would probably go to Rode Pod mics for that type of vibe. For me though, personally, it's still always going to be this here. This is my go-to microphone for live streaming or whatever kind of a thing. It just is a personal favorite now. But otherwise, if I had to take something, I'm going to take the Rode Pod mic. Saying your shorts have been fire. Why, thank you so much. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. ATL Grow Urban Gardening. Man, I have been getting into, because the more I've been changing my foods and stuff, I've been looking more into like urban gardening stuff. I am not a gardening kind of person. I don't have that green kind of thumb, but I'm looking to start doing stuff. So I love that your channel's about that. Saying creating videos outdoors is so freaking hard. You know what? It's I'm sharing like the funny parts of it, but it's not bad. It's just for me, like, and then too, when it was, again, I tell you, it was 100 degrees outside. I'm not even joking. It wasn't staggering. It wasn't going up. Like, it just 100 solid degrees, and it felt like 100% humidity. And so my hair was getting on my nerves and stuff like that. So, but otherwise, non-hell hot heat kind of a day. Making videos outside is not hard. It actually is, like, as far as just the technical aspects of it, very easy to work with. I like making videos outside probably more than indoors. I just don't do it as often as I've wanted to in the past, which is why I'm changing stuff. But it's not that hard. You just gotta have, depending on what you're trying to do, just gotta have the right gear, or just know what kind of stuff to look for. But you gotta get out there to get the experience, just to figure out what's what. Say these Texas mosquitoes, these Texas mosquitoes walk up on you like, you're just my type of girl. Come here. Are you A or B negative? Thankfully, I have not experienced the Texas mosquitoes like that. I've spent plenty of time down there, but then let's see, Alabama. When I say those things were like, let's pull a Doc Pop out, just like this. This was the mosquito. Just like, oh, you new in town, huh? It's like, oh, good to see you. And like, well, welcome to the neighborhood. So it's like down the street, we got the butcher's market, and we got disrespectful mosquitoes. That's the states I want to stay away from. Disrespectful mosquitoes. Say, okay, I wasn't too far off. I thought it was just a dummy filler to not have to empty the camera back. So yeah, it's just a dummy battery. It just is a wired, powered, adapted battery solution, instead of having to have a battery that has the cells and such in there. I would pull one from somewhere, but I don't have any close right now, so that would just be ridiculous. So vlogging, shotgun microphone for vlogging. I haven't changed mine. Again, like I said, a lot of gear that I use, I bought stuff I don't have to quote unquote upgrade from. I have used the same vlogging microphone since like 2018, which is the Movo VXR10, not the other one, which I got sitting over on the table that I don't like, but just a regular Movo VXR10. That has been my shotgun vlogging microphone since like 2018, because it's quieter than the Rhodes. It's quieter than the even updated Pro version, which is great for noise rejection. It's all metal body. It's fantastic. It's short and it takes up no space. I did some modifications to mine to adapt. I think I've shown that on the stream before. That's my personal preference. If I was to get a microphone today for vlogging, I would probably still do the same thing, because unless you know what all you're going to get into, the only thing I don't like is the size of the ECM mics, Sony ECM mics. But unless you know that you're going to do vlogging, vlogging is one of those things where everybody love to talk about it. Very few people actually go do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, very few people actually do it. Like, they'll buy the stuff for it. Very few people actually do it for a long time, like a long term. Few do it. So it's like, when you look at those that actually vlog, actually throw it in their piece of content occasionally or whatever, or it is just like a regular ongoing thing. Like, not everything that I record is stuff that goes to the channel, or that is something that I'm doing for the channel, whatever. But 9 times out of 10, I almost always got my camera with me. So it's like, and I'll vlog, and it's like, unless I'm going out of town, it's like, then I'll put those vlogs on the channel or whatever. But personally, still, honestly, for me, I just use the internal mic on the camera now. The front-facing microphones on the ZV-E1. Then once I get somewhere and I know I'm not going to have to pack down my set or put it into anything or whatever, it's still the Movo VXR10. Unpopular opinion. So that's what I use. I updated to the Ryko shoe mount, and I changed, what else did I change? I changed the cable, so it's more the flexible kind from Rode. Yeah, from Rode. Matter of fact, let me just show you. It's easier than trying to describe these weirdo things. So this is one. Let me get the other one out of my bag. Swear, man, every week y'all have me going to get stuff. So this is the updated one. This is the VXR10 Pro. Matter of fact, let's use the magic of Ecamm, and I'm going to zoom in so I don't have to actually get up a lot. So this one is the Movo VXR10 Pro. You see it's got like the double ride coat shoe. It's got the microphone, headphone port, or whatever. This one's fine, but it's noisier. It's a little bit bigger and it's noisier. I've tried this one. I don't like it. So what I did instead, I updated my own a long time ago. Okay. So from an older Rode one, I updated to this Lear or Lyre type setup. Block my face. So that it swings a little bit easier, right? So that there's no noise. And that was the biggest thing. So I updated the way that this was. This is an all metal body, and this is just the base Movo VXR10. So I changed that from an old Rode microphone. I changed the puff that's on there. So the windscreen, so you'll see that it's Rode. It's not actually, this is the Movo. Shoot. And so this is what I've been using for years. And then the last piece of the puzzle was I upgraded to just the bendy ones from, where did I get this one from? I think I got it from, it had to be one of the Rode Video Micros or wireless somethings. Whatever it was, whichever ones that these came with, I really liked it. And so even though I got rid of that setup, I was like, I'll just swap the cable or whatever, but I'm keeping this one. And so this is what I've been using for my vlogging mic, and it's been a fantastic setup. I have dropped this an incredible amount of times. It works. The wind muff and all that stuff works. So I basically just swapped the Rode accessories out and swapped the mic out. So which it wasn't that expensive to do, because they were selling this stuff on Amazon individually. So I don't even know if that stuff is still listed individually on Amazon anymore. But that's why. So the easier way would just be get the Rode Video Micro. And then you get all those components or whatever. I just preferred the different microphone. So that's why. Janice Anderson. Hey, Janice, good to see you, ma'am of God. Hey, good to see you, Janice. Glad that you are here. Saying, so yeah, for vlogging, that's what I do. I keep my setup lean and mean. I don't use a cage. I don't use anything other than the Falcom F38 quick release plates. I use my, what do you call it? Mantis Pro or something like that. Just because it's all plastic, so it's super lightweight. And that is what I take. Movo VXR10 with the modifications that I made or whatever. The Rode Video Micro, if you're not in like noisier environments, but it just made a difference for me. So like when we were in New York, and so me and Luis was walking down the street, he's pushing Prince 8 in his stroller. And so we're walking, New York just is hella loud. Like it's so like the noise, just the street noise, the ambience noise or whatever. It's a fantastic experience. I wouldn't want to live there, but it's a fantastic experience. And so we walking down the street and it's loud, but I want the audio to be as clean as possible in front of the microphone for where we are, not behind us or whatever, which is why this version, the Pro, did not work great because it's a super cardioid. Nope, it's still a super cardioid, but it is, it's a different kind of polar pattern. I'm getting super technical and nerdy. Let me think what this is for a second, because if I don't, it's gonna bother me. The polar pattern is different though. Is it a supercardioid? I think so. I think it is. Either way, I didn't like it. And it picked up more noise, picks up just a little bit behind you. It's fine if you are behind the camera and you got somebody in front, or vice versa, and you just kind of want to hear both sides. Then this other one is great. This one is fine for that. Very, very rarely is it one of those behind the camera, in front of the camera type scenarios, which is why I didn't get the Deity D4 Duo. I didn't get the other. Movo has another one that's like 2 mics front back. Again, the more you actually do something, the more you will actually see what you're doing and what you prefer and what your preferences are, and stuff like that. I think this is a supercardioid polar pattern. I gotta look this up. Let's see, the Movo Movo VXR10 VXR10 Pro, and let's just see from the interwebs. So this is like, these are okay. Let's go here and show you. Okay, like, it's just I just didn't like it. The foam is a little bit weaker. The hair things aren't that great. So I kept it, but I didn't really I didn't really care for it like that. Still a metal grill, still a metal microphone, or whatever the case is, but it just was not ideal for me personally. But again, you get the best you think you can get, as far as like as close to what's going to work best for you. Get as close to that as possible. Whatever you think you're going to do, actually going to do, buy that thing. Then actually go and do the work, do the kind of content creation you think you're going to do. That will expose whether or not you got the right thing or not. Otherwise, it's like you're making your best assumption possible. Online is usually what it is. Just do the best you can. So for a lot of people, they prefer the sound of the Rode, or they prefer this or that. I prefer the Movo. And it's like the best investment for me personally ever. It is a supercardioid. That's what it is. That's what I was looking for. It's a supercardioid pickup pattern, which it picks up in the front, a little bit in the back. The other one, the Movo VXR10, is a cardioid style. So it has almost nothing coming from the rear of the microphone. Everything else is just like podcast style microphone, which is why it's quieter than the Rode. The Rode is very similar, but that's getting too technical. But that's what it is. So it is what I thought. It's super cardioid for the VXR10 Pro. So I didn't care for that one. The other one that I went with, I just been using it, rocking it, loving it ever since. It is by far my favorite shotgun microphone. And there you are. Merry Christmas. All right, let's see what else we got for comments, because I think we're getting close to the end here. So I'm looking at those Sony ECM mics, trying to get something good and affordable, because the EVA10 onboard mics suck. So if you're going to end up still connecting a wire, don't get them, because it's no point at that, you know what I'm saying, at that point. If you're not really going to leverage most of the different polar patterns that those mics can do, don't get it, because there's no point at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not going to actually benefit from using any of the stuff that those mics have, other than just not connecting a cable, unless that's just what you want, obviously get what you want. But if you're not going to use it, which for me, for vlogging, I know I'm not, number one, the size and how tall they are is going to annoy me. They got a little stubby one, but then you can't control like the volume levels, which is weird, which is similar to the what's the name of, but I didn't care for that. So it's like, I really like them. I'm really freaking excited about the tech and stuff like that. I don't need more than the Movo VXR10 personally. It's not going to get, it's not like it'd be different if the channel mostly did vlogging content. My main channel, it's not. Vlogging is something I do when I'm traveling, when I want to, you know, just do a vlog, and then I post it on my vlog channel, and it's just whatever I want there, whatever experiences I want to live there. That's it. And so, yeah, ECM mics are fantastic, amazing mics. I would not recommend them, but at the same time, like, what are you actually going to do? You know, what are you actually going to do? What are you actually going to use it for? Because if you're just gonna wind up not using all the benefits and stuff that it has, then it becomes kind of like a waste of space. But yeah, that's kind of how that rolls, allegedly. All right, let's see what we got. Saying I'm still rocking the pod mic, but I've been testing a podcast mic from Movo, and it's not bad, but the same price is more. Or excuse me, but the price is more than it's worth, I think. You know what? I've had quite a few budget microphone companies reach out trying to get me to test different stuff, and my thing is this: unless it fits a use case to where, because most of us on the channel, you already have something that's already really good, by Shure, by Rode, by Sennheiser, you know, by a lot of other brands, the Heil PR40 legendary, another legendary microphone. Everybody already has a freaking stellar microphone, and they're like, oh yeah, same specs or whatever, but I can't do this. If I touch the microphone, it don't sound like somebody with a big old lightning rod is hitting the microphone. Or if I just want to move the mic like this or make some adjustments real quick, most of that noise isn't like heard to a point to where it just sounds like, oh my gosh, I can't take it anymore. And then that's the thing. And so like I message them back and be like, hey, so I watched the reviews around the microphones and stuff. It's like, did you upgrade or change things? Did you improve? Is the handling noise improved? Because if somebody wants to move the mic out the way, like I'm doing right now, if they want to move it, if they want to do something else with it, or if they have a guest and the guest is not used to it and they just want to move it around and okay, did we ruin the audio? If I'm typing and touching on the desk like I am right now, with whatever boom pole we use or microphone podcasting pole that we use, is the stuff from the desk being picked up? Whatever keyboard, don't matter. Do we hear all that stuff? If the answer is yes, why would I spend more for a worse experience? Or why would I spend the same amount of money for a worse experience? So that's why a lot of stuff is like, I'll try things, it never makes it to the channel because it doesn't make sense. Or it's like, I'll tell them outright, because we stopped doing the send me the product and I'll do a video and review exchange stuff on the channel. So it's a lot of stuff you're not going to see on the channel anymore, or stuff that would come out unless I buy it myself. It's like, but for what? For a lot of things, it's like a for what? If you're going to invest in something, get the thing that's actually worth what makes sense. And so when I ask those questions, and I tell them, I was like, if you send it just as a gift and they like, hey, try it if you like it, see how you like it or whatever. If you try it, and you decide you want to do a video on it or whatever, cool. If not, cool. It's like, okay, great. If I try something, I'm not putting it in a video if it actually doesn't make sense. I'm not going to ever recommend it or talk about it if it actually don't make sense. And I'm going to try something before I ever recommend it for whatever, paid or unpaid. So I'm like, if you want to do a paid deal, because we had those conversations, if you want to do a paid deal, fine. But at the same time, I need full right to say exactly what I want about the thing to give my honest opinion. And they're like, oh yeah, we value that. Oh yeah, okay. And it's like, but ain't no but. So a lot of this backdoor conversation stuff with brands, with some brands, I won't say all brands, because it's not fair to just throw everybody in the same category. With some brands, and like I said, with a lot of these microphone companies more recently, for some of them, or they have a microphone and they are like an accessories company or something, or whatever. It's like, why would I ask somebody to spend the same money for a worse experience? If I wouldn't actually do it and I wouldn't actually switch, regardless as to what I already have, or throw it in the mix somewhere, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And it's a waste of money. And you're not going to ruin my name, my good name that I've worked for and earned, right? And trust that I've earned with my community and those that find the challenge. You're not going to ruin my name for a crappy product. It's not worth it. I don't care what you want to pay, or if you don't want to pay anything and you just want to gift it and see what I decide or whatever. It's not worth my good name. sorry, my brand is more important to me than yours. So you don't see some stuff on the channel. A lot of stuff you don't see on the channel. So it's like, yeah, it's like, if I wouldn't actually make that switch or actually throw it in the mix, I'm not actually going to touch it. So for someone like me, who suffers from photophobia, light sensitivity, you ain't never gonna see me with the camera outdoors. Cameras are good these days. Saying it's more the randomly changing conditions. Saying you can be in the middle of recording and out come the the leaf blowers. You ain't lying about that. You know what? If you see them and they are about to cut, you can go ask them to give you 20 minutes, right? And I mean, throw them some cold bottles of Gatorade or Sprite or something like that. I don't drink the stuff anymore, but you know, like, hey, go get y'all something cold to drink at the gas station. Here's like 10, 20 bucks. 10 bucks ain't gonna do nothing. It's like, here's 20 bucks. It's like, can you get, or you know, honestly, bribes aside, if you just ask them, hey guys, you guys, we see you setting up. I know you got to get your work done. You're on a time schedule. We are too. Can you give me just 10 minutes to wrap this up before you guys cut the machines on the stuff? And they'll be like, oh yeah, man, sure. And so if you just go talk to them and ask them, even if you just randomly see them cutting, if you ask them, they will give you that 10-15 minutes to wrap up and do what you need to do. Happy belated birthday, cuz. Thank you so much, Deborah. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. See, I like to shop for vlogging gear, but I cannot vlog in public without panic. So I just finished, I did like 3 vlogs the other day. And so the last bit of that was at this nice spot that we have, is where I did the Cine Pier gimbal video or whatever, but the inside was open, so I went in there. And so the thing with that is, so what? There's people around. So you'll never see these people again in life unless they work there. And then you become friends with these people. You know what I'm saying? Enough friends for friendly with the people. So what? Any kids that see you, you're the biggest hero ever. So when I was recording that video in the park that I was talking about earlier, that is in editing right now. Maybe sometime next week or something may come out. But just like the Q&A video, so when I first started doing that, this little girl and her dad were riding the bike, and they were just like, I guess, finishing like the little trail, and her face lit up as if it was her birthday. And she got a ton of bricks of just like the best things, of just like, you would have thought Disney characters came out. Her face lit up like $1 million. And she was like, and she just like, and how's that? And I just waved like, hi. And she's like, Dad, you see, it's a vlog camera. And I'm like, and so I mentioned it in the vlog or whatever. I don't know when the vlogs will come out, because that stuff is in, like I said, it's in editing for with my video editor now. So whenever he gets to that vlog, we'll see. Because I was doing like a little BTS of the vlog of that video. So, but I mentioned it and I was like, yeah, just biggest grin. If a kid sees you, instant superhero status, you know, like, so, but otherwise, other adults, honestly, they don't care. For those that you get, and they just be like, oh, either like you'll come across a couple facial expressions that either fit in the category of, oh, and literally just that. I'm like, oh, like it's different. I'm like, they don't care. Like their life is like, they got a bajillion other things to think about other than you. They don't care. They'll look. You may have a couple people every blue moon that just be like, hey. And so I usually point the camera and be like, hey, and let them be in, get they 3 minutes of fame or whatever, or 3 seconds of fame or whatever. And then they walk off, and then that's it. Because if you get the random person that does that and want to be like, hey, or whatever, all they trying to do is throw you off or whatever, or they don't care and they're just that outgoing to just jump in and be like, hey, and it's like, okay, hey. And so I always laugh it off, and then we move on. Like nobody says anything other than the hey and the waves or the whatever. But especially if you like trying to be like super serious or whatever, and you have that heckler kind of a person, it's like once you just say the hey and just embrace it or whatever, don't even try to like, I just be like, hey. And then if I have to re-record that part over or whatever, then I do, but usually I don't ever have to. But 9 times out of 10, it almost never happens. So you'll never see those people again. They don't care. And most people are going to die never achieving their life's purpose. So if you're doing something that's kind of got you on that road or got you on some level of fulfillment in some way of life, you're doing most in whatever any person would do in life most of the time. And so that is my measurement of, do I care what people think? No, I will never see these people again in life. And on the one chance, it feels like, and because I was at an event and I was vlogging, I was at the top of like this hotel had like this 360 balcony almost. And so this lady saw me at the bottom, and then I had to use the restroom. Perk of endometriosis battling. I had to use the restroom. Went to the restroom, and so my camera was just sitting on the sink or whatever. And so I'm washing my hands or whatever, because I could put it on the side of my bag. Excuse me. Well, now I have it on the sink or whatever. I'm washing my hands. And so I turn around and there's a woman walking in. She's like, so I had picked my camera up again by then. She was like, hey, when she called me out the bathroom, I was like, I'm still walking like, hello. It's just, that's awkward. That throws me off 100 out of 100% chance of the time. It's like, let me get through the restroom, please. But no, she walked up to me to say she had watched my content before. She recognized me and she just wanted to say thank you. And that was it. Because she saw me creating content, because she saw me and just like, that's that person. Like, I know that's that person. And she just came to say hello and say thank you. And that was super gratifying. But if I was trying to hide in the back of a corner or whatever, something just like, oh, don't look at my camera, she would have never saw me. I would have never had that interaction, and I would have never had that experience. And it was 100% worth it. So I always just compare my goals, my visions, my dreams to what I'm doing versus the random face that I will never, ever again see in life. And on the offshoot that I do ever again see that person in life, at least we have something interesting to talk about, something dealing with the camera, which is usually 100% more interesting than whoever starts that conversation sitting next to you on an airplane. I never care what other people are thinking. What other people are thinking about you is none of your business. It's never none of your business. Why alter what you're doing because of somebody else? It feels like initially, it does feel like weird of like, the people, but they don't care. And I don't care. Like, they have look at it's the end of the month right now. How many people looking at, oh man, just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. How I'm gonna get this money together for rent. I don't know what I'm gonna do to get this money together for the mortgage. Or once I'm done paying all the bills, it's like, dang, I'm gonna have only this much money left. Or they living in a life of abundance and they just like, oh, it's like, what do I want to buy this month? They have a bajillion other micro decisions to worry about that, like, I promise you, they don't care whatever you're doing. And on the offshoot, like I said, that somebody wants to engage with you, just embrace it and move on. Because it's like, it's a muscle. Being around people, though, is a muscle. And I'm saying this as the super introvert person who probably almost never prefers to be around crowds, but I've built that muscle so it doesn't bother me. Not nearly like as much as it used to, like straight panic attack just from the noise of people. You know what I'm saying? So I went from that level of introversion to, you know what I'm saying, more along the lines of, it don't matter. I prefer to, you know, be off in a small group, whatever, or off to myself, but I'm not gonna die. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like and the only thing is, like, I'm gonna call it past the point. Like, all right, this is enough peopling today. But it's just a muscle. Just build it. It's just a muscle. And most of the people I say you will never see again in life. Computer saying I also have the Movo VXR10 mic and I love it. Still have it in my bag. I also have the double-ended shotgun mic by Movo Mate. Yeah, Movo Mate. Yep, 100%. Such a dope microphone. Saying, bro, Amazon is wild. Literally just open the app and boom, first thing is the Movo VX. And they say they're not listening. Saying great memories. 100%. 100%. Saying business in the front, party in the back. I don't understand what that means, and we're moving on. K-Walk Comedy saying, hey, Lady Diana and fellow creators. Hello, K-Walk Comedy. Merry Christmas. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying, from what I've seen, those ECM mics have great noise rejection. True. So I'm just researching more Saying, but I opened the Amazon and the Movo mic was just right there, tempting. So that is the one thing that in certain scenarios and environments, and that's why I've been using the DJI mics, and I got the Sony attachment there. I really believe DJI is going to come out with their own shotgun ECM style microphones, because they made the little adapter that goes directly into the Sony cameras. It was such a wild, random accessory drop, and I was so freaking excited about it. And I'm like, I think they're going to get into audio like more at, like, it makes sense. It makes sense. So I think if anything, that's probably the back of the back door kind of stuff that DJI is working on. And if DJI makes a shotgun microphone that is the hot shoe mic, whatever, and it has that same, it's such a fantastic experience. And I mean, like, it's a significant difference. And I'm saying significant noise reduction difference because I always have the ceiling fan on here, like in the summertime or whatever, just because this room gets hot. And so then you have the lights on, then you have the computers on. So you got all this tech stuff like generating heat. And so even in the wintertime, got a space heater on because I hate to be cold. And I'm like, okay, you don't hear nothing like that. Like it goes from shh to, and I'm like, oh, that's incredible. When you hear it for yourself and you hear the actual noise around you, and then you just hear it disappear. I'm like, yeah. So it is, if noise rejection is the goal, 100 times out of 100, get the ECM mics. It's like, I'm like, it's such a great experience. Like, it's not even the fact that you don't need the cable and blah, blah, blah. It just, that noise reduction that's a big deal for me anyway. And something I really, really like. Saying likewise, I don't do the negative reviews. It holds up the process so much, 100%. And it's like, why talk about something just to say I don't like it? Yeah. Saying Destiny, you spot on about the noise. Yep. Super cool. Derek Roberts in the building, could see you saying, do you think the Joe Rogan headset is worth it? The Sennheiser HD 280 Pro, and you can tell the difference between the new version versus the old. Do you mean like the microphone? Because he uses the Shure SM7B and this is the Shure SM7B. It really is a preference. Some things with audio can only be experienced. Like it's not going to be properly conveyed ever in a video. And I did not like the Shure SM7B when I first got it. Because everybody was like, oh, get the SM7B, Miss D, get the Queen D, get the SM7B. And I'm like, okay. So I got that in the Rodecaster. I wasn't excited about it. I'm like, let me do this because I'm like, I know I want to record. I know I want to write a book, and I know I want to do the audiobook at some point. And I know I want to make that last microphone investment that I'm ever going to have to make. If I buy other microphones, it's because I'm doing something else or whatever, but not because I have to. So I looked at a bunch of other microphones. So we look at, let me pull up the one you're talking about, the Sennheiser one. It's a lot of great microphones. Like I said, the Heil PR40, another legendary style microphone. It just is a matter of, what do you like? What do you have a preference for? When I listen to the warmth of my voice, the natural noise rejection that the mic has, the clarity, the depth, and it's not just my voice. I've used this microphone for other things, other voices across it. Do I think it's worth it? If it's worth it to you, for me, it was worth it to have the final microphone that I ever want to buy, that ever need to buy, that I don't need to upgrade from. That's the kind of gear purchases I've been making lately. And I say lately, like over the last 12 to 18 months. What's the one thing that if I bought this, I would not need to upgrade from? And that's the kind of gear that I have. I don't need to upgrade from it. So if I do this, can I do my audiobook with it? And we pass the standards for that, for what Amazon and Audible and all the rest of those guys need. Yes. Do I use it for podcasting and whatever, live streaming? Yes. Can I do it for interviews and stuff like that? Yes. Could I take it on the road and not be afraid of dropping it even in a shelled protective case or something like that? And it would stand the test of time? Yes. Is it backed by years of experience and use case of the microphone where it doesn't wear down and just break because of it getting used in its normal use case? Yes. For all those reasons, it was an instant, like, once I learned how to tune it to my voice, and I'm like, ooh, I'm like, yeah, this is it. I'm like, this is it. So then I was like, okay, I can dig this. I like this a lot. So I don't go off of just because this person is using it, just because it's the microphone that Michael Jackson sang Thriller off of or whatever else. Just like, I don't use it. But as far as you said the headset. Now you said I'm getting off because I had to look it up first, and I'm like, do you mean the microphones? So that's my comment on the microphones. Headsets, though, I don't know the difference. I just looked it up. You said the Sennheiser HD280 Pro, which is a headphone set. I could not tell you. That's one question I honestly do not know. So you'd have to speak to somebody that uses them or have tried them or has some level of experience with it. I couldn't tell you. Because again, what are you listening for? Just like a person that's on stage doing like singing and stuff like that are going to use totally different type of internal microphone headsets so that they can hear, but they're not listening for audio quality or depth or whatever. They're listening for just to hear that metronome popping off in their ear and whatever else. So what are you using it for? Because a headset is a headset is a headset. I'm probably never going to switch from these. And I have a new one in the box just for whenever these go down. It's like, so for me, I'm listening like a normal consumer would listen. So I want to listen to what a consumer would hear with a quality type headset like this, or maybe better. But for me personally, I couldn't tell you. That's one question I honestly do not know. What is up, Lulu? Good to see you. Glad that you are in the build, IA. Let's see here. Chat Night Africa saying, how is the sound quality of the VXR10 vlogging mic? Do you have to be very close for the subject to capture? Again, at this point, now you need to learn audio. This is where you learn audio. Because if you don't know the difference between a cardioid microphone and how it would sound in English, in an environment, or the environments that you're going to be recording in, and if you don't know how a super cardioid microphone would make a difference in the environment that you're in, now this is where it's a good idea to test and to see, get both microphones and try them and see. You know what I'm saying? Or whichever, not just even specifically these, the ones that you think would be worth it for you. Then actually hear the difference. Because it's like, it's weird because when you look at Curtis Judd is somebody that does audio exceptionally well on YouTube. He is somebody that when I'm looking for stuff, that's who I go to learn from. So he has a fantastic YouTube channel, and he's been a fantastic creator for years on the platform. So that's Curtis Judd's YouTube channel. So when I'm also, though, looking to see how that will work for me, I also have to think he's in maybe a much more quieter environment. He may be in a sound treated room. He may have had made adjustments to his recording space, maybe not the whole room, but just his general recording space to further reject background noise. It may be where it's not a super loud environment. I have airplanes and military jets. I have nieces and nephews sometime with another TV going on in the other room. Got the air conditioner. I got a fan. It's no sound treatment in this office. It's going to be loud. Loud in the sense like it's atmospheric noises happening. You may hear somebody close the door on the street or whatever, and a car noise or whatever. You're going to hear stuff because this is a room in a house, right? So, and I didn't want to make a padded room with all the foam and all that stuff for sound treatment. So, different environment. Now, how does this microphone that is traditionally for like a cardioid dynamic style microphone or whatever, how is this going to sound versus a condenser cardioid microphone or whatever? Totally different experiences, wildly different. So this is where it makes sense to get more experience with the kind of environments that you're going to be in and what kind of audio thing would it work. Sound quality is subjective because most of us do some kind of treatment in processing. We may do some additional tweaking to further remove any noise, or to enhance an audio piece, whether that's a voiceover piece or a podcast or whatever. So this is where experience and getting your hands dirty with some stuff is gonna make more sense. But now it's like, this is when you need to try the microphone out for yourself. But if it's just for vlogging, ain't nobody gonna care. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. What microphone is the vlogs you watch with? Sometimes it's a smartphone. Sometimes it's a GoPro. It's like, it don't matter past the point, because the quality of the content is what matters. You know what I'm saying? So like, don't over obsess over it. If it's for vlogging, nobody cares. The biggest thing, they just don't want to hear no whole bunch of street noise like them cicadas. If I let y'all hear the track, the cicadas were absurdly loud. Let me see if I got the SD card in the computer right now. I think it might be, but it was so funny because I sent that clip to my friends and they laughed so hard because those cicadas were so loud. I think this is the SD card in the computer right now. Let me find that real quick, because it just, words cannot express. Let's see here. Okay, yep, this is it. So let me throw this in the mix. Let's play, let me pause the audio. Play full screen with audio. This is how loud it was. Vlog example for, what this should look like. That's a dope shot. Yeah. So all I was doing here was just trying to figure out the framing that I wanted to use for the video. I was testing the lighting, time of day, and stuff like that. Cicadas is hella loud. I like that. And then we got the 20. So in this kind of scenario and environment, it would not have mattered because the environmental noise is absurd at that point. So it doesn't matter how good it is with, like, it is a difference. As I panned around and I was testing like different spots to see what it would look like. And that is a throwaway video where it's not going to actually make it to the final file, but I'm looking to see what does the framing look like for the noise projection. What does it actually sound like on playback? Because in certain environments, even though it's loud overall, you do hear the cicadas less. But overall, they're still loud. They're drowning me out. So it would not have mattered. I would have needed to move to a lapel mic system. I would have needed to make sure that I'm using, like, we would have had to do way too much for the audio or whatever, and it just wasn't worth it. And it was a hell hot heat kind of a day anyway. So the fact that it was just that loud anyway, it didn't matter. So again, that's why I say your environment, not only the use case, but the environment does matter. And so if wherever you record or whatever kind of stuff you're trying to do, just take that into consideration. Because again, you may find it's like, it just kind of don't matter at that point. But if I did that video and then this is the audio for millimeter that trucks, ain't nobody listening for this. Like, you can't even hear me. You cannot even hear me. That's how bad it is. Like, it sounds like I'm probably behind the camera or something like that. Like, it's so bad. And so, it is what it is. But again, like, you need to see for a cardioid microphone, for like, how far do you need to be? How far can you be? Go look at Curtis Judge's channel. I'm trying to think of who else I like to go to for audio. Just go look at some filmmakers even. That's when it's good. Like, you get a lot of knowledge from filmmaking channels and they'll teach you. Don't point it at the person's voice, point it at their chest. Because this audio is generating from here, not just like the mouth or whatever. You learn so much different stuff. Or they'll teach you, like in a scenario like this, do an off-axis rejection so that you're not getting any types of plosives when that person speaks. The audio is going this way, the person is still being heard, X, Y, and Z. Like, you'll learn a lot, but if it's vlogging, nobody will care. Just don't be in a scenario like I was with all the cicadas or what have you. So Mr. Camera Junkie is saying DJI is rumored to be making a mirrorless hybrid camera. Thoughts? I think DJI is ready to take over the world. Not even joking. I think DJI has assessed the market long enough to look at all of the gaps, to look at all of the quirks between various brands. You look at their experience with their gimbals and stuff like that, and ready for somebody to steal the show. That's just different enough. They've built the brand loyalty around their video image quality, from the action cameras to the Osmo Pocket to their larger gimbal style cameras. They've done drone. They understand stabilization from the digital side as well as the physical side and the actual axes. And then they got into audio, and they completely, think about this, for the most part, they obliterated Rode overnight. So much so, they did it in the same way that Rode took over for, I'm trying to think who's the company. It was either Shure or Sennheiser. I feel like it was Sennheiser that initially came out with the smaller wireless mic joints. And then like 2 weeks later, Rode dropped theirs, and everybody forgot even who it was. And it wasn't even a consideration anymore. And then Rode dominated the industry. And then DJI dropped. It's a little concerning because you're like, I want to go to audio company that regularly does audio. But then it's like, but Rode is doing this, and then DJI is this. And it's like, yeah, those DJI mics is going to work. And then you see everybody, without any fanfare, just switched. See the little chiclet on their chest, or the Rode mic, and you like, they don't use, they're not the Rode, but the DJI. And it's like, oh, they don't use Rode anymore. They use DJI. I'm like, I'm like, okay. Who do you know that's still actively using them? Not that they're not obviously great and people use them or whatever, but you quietly saw a lot of people just convert and didn't make a bunch of fanfare. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to DJI. And it's just a better experience. So I think with that, and you couple that with their accessories, you couple that with all the other stuff that they've touched, I think DJI is primed, ready to do a little mirrorless. Let's say they did a little mirrorless APS-C camera, creator camera. They could easily clean up house. Why? Because they got digital tech on lock. They've had that for a long time. If they did IBIS, that would be right up their alley. They understand it. And even if they only relied on their digital tech, they got that. They got the sensor tech as far as what they're doing, or if they're using Sony sensors, even better. Autofocus would be questionable. Audio, they understand. They got it. Like, what else? Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that many moving parts, and cameras are so outdated. They're not even close to what smartphones can do. Cameras are so antiquated in their general body design. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, the market's ready for a takeover, or somebody to shake it up, like Sony initially started doing, you know, when they first came to market, that kind of thing. I wouldn't switch from Sony, but I would not try the DJI thing. Whatever it was, it'd probably be cool. It'd probably be fun. How would you compare the sound with that coming straight from the ZV-E10? I wouldn't. Again, this is now where these are questions that you're asking. You need to go and try this stuff out. There's no amount of stuff that I can tell you, honestly. Chat Night Africa, you're going to have to go and try. Invest and buy, and then you need to try it. At that point, you need to test this out. Because I can't tell you what it's going to be like in your environment. I can't tell you what it's going to be like in your random scenarios when you go do this, when you go do that, when you go and test it. Get a microphone and test it. Because it doesn't matter that what microphone that I was using, what environment or whatever. Very few people are going to be out in the necessarily a field in a park with cicadas. They're probably going to be passing through one, but it's never like vlogging is never just that so stationary, you know, in that case. But go and test. You're going to need to test. Saying the ear headset for listening to volume, I can't tell if my Logitech computer speakers are what others are hearing. Depends on the kind of work or what you're trying to do. If you're truly trying to compare audio quality, go to a professional's channel. And I'm saying like the professional that's in the lane of content that you're trying to do. If they're doing filmmaking, go find a solo filmmaker or whatever. See what kind of headsets they're using. If you are into, like I said, more documentation style stuff, see what kind of headset they're using. If you're into somebody that's a video editor professionally, see what kind of headsets and stuff they're using. Most of them will have like a monitoring, dedicated type of monitoring audio thing. I still recommend listen with some kind of high grade headset, over the ear headset, and then put in some consumer style stuff to just hear what the average Joe is going to hear, you know. So but I'm, like I said, I'm not that person to give you advice on that, because I just don't know. I try to go what off everybody else is going to hear and then make it better and then go from there. And saying for consumers, the headset is just a headset. For musicians, it's all different. Exactly. Somebody that's an acoustic guitarist is looking for different things than somebody that is a soloist, you know, and they're singing. So very different. Saying, whoa, is the One Right video available as an audiobook? The hold on. Saying the print was a little small for me. I'd love to be able to listen to it. So it is not. I'm reading it currently. That's the only thing. I'm reading it. So it's not out yet. I'm still reading the audiobook right now. Let me say this. I just started reading the audiobook. It's not been an ongoing thing this whole time. It's just in these last, 2 weeks or so, I just started reading the audiobook. So it's not out yet, but when it is, I will obviously make that known, and it will be recorded by yours truly. Saying, okay, if I may ask, what earpiece headset do you use? Thanks again. These right here. Any video that you see me in or what have you, is these regular bass iPhone wired headsets. Number one, I personally like the sound quality. Just if I'm listening to some device on my own, I like the way that it sounds. It doesn't hurt my ears compared to other in-ear or whatever's. And then two is just like, it's not that serious. And I'm not for everything being wireless. My personal opinion, I don't want everything some wireless something whatever that needs to be charged. No, because a lot of stuff I'm still very much so old school in some respect. So wired headset is my go-to. I have one for the desk, and then I have one that I listen to like on my phone or whatever, because if I'm traveling, that's just one less thing I don't want to have to charge. I already got to charge my phone. I already got to do this. I already got to charge my watch and whatever. That's one less thing I have to charge or worry about at all. So that's just my personal preference there, and I'm just not very particular on that. So I just use these. Saying thanks for all you do. Hold on, wait a minute, because where are we at? We are at the 2 hour. You know what? Just Tornado. Thank you. Saying thanks for all that you do. Yeah, we're not doing no remaining 2 hours, but I have to dash out. Okay, take care of business. Have a great weekend. But we're at the 2 hour mark and we are close to the end, so we're gonna wrap this up. Saying, wow, they are so loud. Exactly. Those cicadas are insanity. Podcasters, yep, that's another great channel to watch if you're into audio and whatnot. Saying, I can't afford the DJI Ronin 4D camera, but if they go DSLR with their stability, I'm all in. Saying, yep, DJI is amazing. Saying, what's a Rode? A mess. Then DJI give me a mirrorless camera with great stabilization and built-in mic. I'm ready. That's why I said I think they're ready to take over in some respect. I don't even if they did a point and shoot camera, like if they just redid the ZV-1 type of deal. They already get screens. Everybody loves their screen. Everybody loves their touch screen. Everybody loves their menu system. Nobody complains about DJI's mic system. If anything, audio companies are antiquated with their menu systems. DJI is not. Everybody loves the texture and the quality of their screens. Autofocusing is the only thing that they would need to work on. Audio is a game changer. They have their own device that now connects with the Sony camera, so I'm pretty sure they got some reverse technology somewhere down the road to do something with, like, here's our own electronic, hot shoe microphone type scenario. I'm pretty sure it's like too many things are already right with them for that to make sense. So I get it. But we are at that 2 hour mark. We have hit all the questions, and I am not letting y'all mess me up with adding in any more. So appreciate y'all coming to the stream in English. I appreciate y'all for coming to the stream, for all the questions that you guys answer. Thank you for all the happy birthday wishes. It is much appreciated. And with that, guys, live with passion. I will see y'all in the next video. Peace, hair grease, and all the other